Hey guys, it's Bill. I know I spend a good amount of time sitting there hating on like the bad trends in the gaming industry, so like I always say, I want to highlight the good things, and one of the good things I really think in particular that's been going on lately is free-to-play games. I made a few mentions of it before, of course, but I was always talking about Fortnite or something. I never really got into it further, but of course we all know that it's not just Fortnite. But thanks to games like Fortnite, not to be too redundant, I feel like the concept of the free-to-play game has made video games so much more popular. Because I know that there is a good amount of people that just had their PlayStation or Xbox set up in the living room or whatever with, like, no games or whatever. They just have it there to stream or whatever. I don't know. I've seen a couple people like that. And with the concept of free-to-play games rising, it turned those consoles into real gaming consoles because you didn't even have to drop a dime. You just sit there and download something right onto the console you already have. No problems, no issues, and boom, you're playing a new game. And looking at the other instances of free-to-play games like Apex Legends and Warzone, and of course I'm not going to forget games like Valorant. And getting into games like Valorant, I obviously have to think of the studios that released these. Of course I'm talking about Riot Games. Obviously they've been doing a lot of things to really set the pace because they released League of Legends almost a decade ago, if not a little bit over. Game studios like them and Epic Games are really on the forefront of this because people are going to spend money on the game once they buy it. They're going to want skins, they're going to buy stuff like that regardless. Seems like they thought, why not get people in the door anyways? And it really has been working because everybody's playing the game and everybody spent at least a little bit of money on the game. I myself have only spent $20 on Fortnite, maybe like $10 on Warzone or something like that, but either way, I dropped a little bit of money there. They got $30 out of me, and if they get that much money out of anybody else or even half or whatever, it doesn't matter. They got a good amount of money. And I feel like with these games coming forth, it really has put pressure on consoles as well because you have PlayStation Now, which is PlayStation's really weak attempt. But of course, what really has been at the forefront of this is Xbox's Game Pass, which is like $5 more, if I'm not mistaken, than Live used to be per month, but you get like all these games basically included and you get EA Play. And I'm not trying to act like I'm sitting there acting like it's perfect or whatever. What I will say is it makes a lot of games easily accessible for a $15 a month price tag, and considering that a lot of people already buy gold to play online or whatever, or already expect to buy gold, that extra $5 for all those games really doesn't look so bad when you can basically download as many as you can fit. And I really do feel like this is the best direction that digital games could have gone in because when digital games first came out, they actually were more expensive than the physical copies, which of course made 0 sense, but whatever. So I'm glad that video games are moving towards this more like digital, like streaming type of like platform. And I think it's pretty much in the same way like how movies did it. How they transitioned from first Blockbuster, which was a 1x1 rental system, and then they went to Redbox, which is still 1x1 but a little bit more on demand, and then they finally transitioned on to Netflix with the full-on streaming platform once Netflix stopped mailing. And I really don't hope to jinx it or anything, but it seems like video games are benefiting the most from this whole push to streaming because having all these video games at your fingertips and just being able to download and delete games or whatever and mix and match them is definitely an incredible option because video games already are a pretty cheap hobby if you want it to be a cheap hobby, compared to a lot of other hobbies. I know you might be wondering what I mean by this because, consoles are expensive, but think about it. The amount of hours of fun you get for the amount of money you spend on video games is a lot better than a lot of other hobbies. Your hobby is like racing or even something like watching movies or like paintballing. You're gonna spend a lot more money for how much more time you have having fun than you would if you play video games, even if you're sitting there buying new games every week or something like that. With video games getting cheaper, I feel like it just appeals to a bigger audience. Gaming, just like every other hobby, takes a lot of time and money, or it takes a little bit either way if you want to get into it, and by making the cost of admission to getting into gaming a lot lower, it allows a lot more people to play. And I personally feel like that's a great improvement because, more people playing means we're going to get to keep games for alive a lot longer. Imagine if you could boot up a game that was 5 years old and only 5% of the player base is on. But 5% of the player base is 8,000 people. And once you start seeing those numbers increase, you'll really start feeling it once you get to sit there and keep playing games well out of their life cycle and sit there and do this and that and see how much stronger communities are. I know I play DayZ a lot, but this is actually a really good example. Ever since DayZ has hit the Xbox Game Pass, it seems like the work on it has been kicked into overdrive just because of how many more people are playing it on Game Pass. A lot more people are hopping on Game Pass and they're buying DLC or this and that, and either way it's sitting there encouraging them to put out more. It really sounds like some backwards thinking, but when a game is good, the least we could do is sit there and give them a good community to keep them pushing in the right direction. Free to play, I feel like we're going to keep going in that same direction, and I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not going to talk no more about it. This has been Bill. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Thank you.